This is the back of a Magic the Gathering card. It's also, in my opinion, one of the ugliest card backs to ever have been designed. And I still find it awesome that in spite of its ugliness, it's managed to produce millions and millions of players around the globe enjoying this game. Because once you turn over one of those Magic cards, a whole beautiful world of the most varied art styles, concepts, color compositions, etc. show themselves to you. I came to the game of Magic very late. So it's today, 2024, so Magic is going to celebrate its 31st birthday. I'm 51, and I had heard of Magic all through the 90s and the 2000s. So it came out after I'd already graduated from high school and was already at university. Unfortunately, I was in one of the most unnerdy environments possible, so nobody was playing in my immediate circle of friends or even my wider circle of friends. So, you know, I'd heard of it, but of course I wouldn't buy it because I wouldn't have had anyone to play with. Once I'd moved to Ireland, I met a lot of geeks and nerds there who had been playing at one point or another, but who'd stopped playing now with family, etc. because playing Magic can be quite an investment. So I didn't get to play there either. And then in 2022, I had moved back to Germany after 17 years abroad. And my partner in crime said, well, I'm playing Magic. How about we get together because you're a gamer, I'm a gamer, so let's play. You like card games, I like card games, I've played Magic, so let's do this. So we bought, and I unfortunately can't remember what we bought, but I do remember it was a pre-constructed deck for myself because I didn't have any cards. And we started playing, and it was a very underwhelming experience for the both of us. And why was that the case? It was the case because I had received a deck which was no match for her deck because she likes playing white and green, and she had a deck full of flying creatures. My deck had no reach and no flying creatures, so I was just destroyed every single time. So after the first time we'd gone through my deck and played, it became quite clear that I didn't stand a chance. So she rebuilt her deck. We played again. It went slightly better, but I still didn't see the appeal. And then we decided to go for Commander. Again, we bought a Commander deck each. This time I think we both had flying and it worked. But again, I didn't build the deck myself. Now, I have a history of deck building, deck constructing games like Lord of the Rings, LCG, and I've also played lots and lots of actual deck builders. So that's the Dominion and its clones, basically where you build the deck every single time. You play from scratch with the available cards from the library as you go along, instead of having a deck and bringing it to the table. So we played a couple of rounds of Commander, and it was spread out quite evenly. I didn't lose all of my games, and she won more than I did, because obviously she was the more experienced player. But it still didn't really appeal to me, because I thought, okay, again, I don't know. I mean, why is there only one copy of each card in a deck of 100 cards? Or 73 leaving out the lands, or whatever, 63 leaving out the lands. Because anyone who plays an LCG will tell you, if you've got a card and it's a good card, the laws of probability teach you you have to have it in there as often as you can possibly have it in there, because there will be removal. So usually in an LCG like Arkham Horror or Lord of the Rings, you would have to have each good card in it 4 times, which is the maximum. Not so here. And so then one thing followed another. Then, of course, we had the point in time when the company that produces Magic the Gathering went over to the dark side, and we decided not to play either Magic or D&D again, or at least not to support them. We had bought stuff earlier. and we weren't going to support them anymore because of the stuff that ensued, and you can go and check on the internet how they have been behaving. It's not gotten any better. And then we started 2 years later with another trading card game called Lorcaner, Disney's Lorcaner, which is made by Ravensburger, and of course is a Disney IP based TCG, which is a little bit like Magic. It's a lot younger. It will turn 1 this year, so it's not even a year old. And of course, the mechanics are a lot less involved, simply because the game is new. And when Magic first set out, of course, Magic was also a lot less involved and with a lot fewer mechanics than it has today. Also, of course, Magic has tested out new mechanics and has dismissed them and not continued with them. The haunt mechanic would be one of those. And also some of the mechanics that you find in Magic are a little bit dependent on the setting. So for example, the day-night mechanic is very much in Innistrad, because you have this idea that at night the humans turn into werewolves, and you wouldn't necessarily find this anywhere else. That doesn't mean that you can't play it, but it's kind of thematically linked, at least in my mind, to the plane of Innistrad and to the fact that people turn into werewolves at night and not during the day. But since we started with Lorcaner, I completely fell in love with Magic. And interestingly enough, for me, that happened not through gameplay, but through the art. I've always had a soft spot for vampires and werewolves. We've been playing Vampire the Masquerade for over 4 years now. And I found Innistrad by chance on the internet, and I started to buy it. And I will also tell you one thing. I'm not going to ever go all out again on any Magic the Gathering product line as I did on Innistrad. I think I bought every single Innistrad, Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow product out there, except for the pre-release bundles, which I would still be able to get, but I'm not going to go there again. But it gave me a good insight into Magic the Gathering's concepts and techniques when it comes to deck building. Because I learned one thing, and I learned this through Lorcaner. I'm not somebody who works well with pre-constructed decks that are just given to her and then, take this and play with it. Because the very first time we played Lorcaner, I was given cards and we started constructing decks from those cards. And then we took it a step further and we did our own sealed booster matches where each of us took 6 boosters from a display, then we constructed a 40 deck card, and then we started playing. And that meant that I suddenly began to feel more the love for TCGs, the same love that I have for LCGs. And since then, we've been collecting, we've been playing, and I've also taken a closer look at Magic across the decades. Now, unfortunately, of course, getting an alpha or beta card these days is not going to happen. Although I have to say that I would love to get some of the old cards, simply because I like the old style. I've always been interested in the way functional art, and that's what I would like to call it, the same as the art that you would find in role-playing books, where it's both supposed to be evocative of a setting, but also functional to sometimes explain rules or to put people into the right mood, has always been something that I've been interested in. I've also been collecting old versions of D&D, both on the secondary market, but also getting PDFs, printing them out, binding them into books, because I just like looking at the old art. And so I've decided to start looking at older versions of Magic. Now, you could buy displays. I saw a display box for Eldritch Moon that sells at 300 euros. I'm not going to spend that kind of money. But I've also found something else, which I believe is going to cater to me for various reasons. And it's the Deck Builders Toolkits. I've got 4 here. This is the one from Magic Origins. So that's dated 2015. Then we've got Innistrad Shadows over Innistrad, 2016. Amonkhet, 2017. And that is Ravnica, 2019. Now, why am I looking at those? Well, because, as I've said to you, I didn't have the best experience with working with pre-constructed decks, and I've always now decided that learning a game for me is going through deck construction. And so I've decided to look at one of these deck builders toolkits to kind of get an idea of what's in it. And the way I understand it is, it's not just boosters as in the modern bundles that you get these days, but it is actually semi-set cards, 125 as far as I recall, from current sets, current at the time, that have been put together to enable someone to build a deck, to learn how to deck build. And there are also going to be at least one rulebook on how to build decks. And that's what I'm going to look at. And I'm also going to look at the art, of course, because over the years, I mean, the oldest one that I have is from 2015. It's 9 years old. So, of course, the art will also have changed. And that's what we're going to look at today. And I am going to start not with the oldest one, but with Amonkhet, because I'm really into Egypt. So we will start now. So let's open the plastic wrapping, perhaps, maybe. And let's see what's actually inside, because I've never actually seen an unboxing of these, so I don't really know. I've seen a list of the contents, and it actually says so: 125 semi-randomized cards, 415 booster packs from recent Magic the Gathering sets. In this case, it's Amonkhet and Kaladesh. 100 basic lands, including 25 full art basic lands, because I also have to say I collect land, because the lands are always different for each release, and they actually give you an insight into the setting. And Magic quick reference card and card storage box. And of course a deck builder's guide to building the best Magic decks. Okay, so here we have the Discover the World of Magic the Gathering by Mark Rosewater, Magic head designer. Hello, fellow Magic players. I'm so happy to introduce you or reintroduce you to the diverse and thriving world of Magic the Gathering. Magic is the first trading card game ever made. It started way back in 1993. It's printed in 11 languages, sold in over 70 countries, and has more than 20 million players and fans worldwide. This was 2017. Okay. Then Magic Duels, play free now, daily, mtg.com, social media, your local Magic community awaits, the Magic tournament experience, see the world's best compete, the stories of Magic, planes, planeswalkers, our story is your story, and thank you. Okay, very nice. Put this to the side. This is now the box, and it's actually not as sturdy as the ones that we saw in the bundles, but still, let's see how we open this. Okay, so this is how we do this. Just gonna have to turn it around so that you can actually see. So we've got some space. We've got the 4 boosters, Amonkhet, Oath of the Gatewatch, Kaladesh, and Revolt. So they were wrong when they said that it was 2 from Amonkhet, 2 from Kaladesh. So it's 4 from different, basically, editions. A quick reference. Just going to remove this. This actually is a nice box. Perfectly serviceable. I don't know if sticking this together was such a good idea. Setup, each player needs a deck of magic cards. Okay, ending phase. Okay, the different steps, casting spells. Okay. We actually know this already, but it's good that it's there. And this is the deck builder's guide. Okay, so it explains about the 5 colors. So white summons lots of small creatures, locks down your opponent's creatures and enhances creatures in combat. Blue rules the sky with flying creatures, tricks your opponents with superior knowledge, counters your opponent's spells. Black, we destroy creatures, that's true. We force our opponent to discard cards and we steal life from our opponent, also true. Red hurls flames at creatures and players, rushes with aggressive creatures, steals your opponent's creatures temporarily. And green tramples over your opponent with huge creatures, ramps up your mana production and destroys artifacts and enchantments. And here you see the mana pie. And again, it's basically what you have seen before. Protection and arms for white, manipulation and trickery for blue, death and power for black, fire and emotion for red, and nature and life for green. Okay, well, I have to say that this is a lot less of a deck builder's guide than I would have thought, because it doesn't give you any strategies. It just basically tells you how to put it together. Okay, so that's not quite what I think people would need if they're going to try and build a deck. But okay, we'll see. But of course we get the really lovely Amonkhet logo. So we're first going to take a look at the lands, because like I said, I'm a fan of lands. And here you can see the expansion symbol, it's Amonkhet, and of course, as you would expect it, it's plains, but it's dry. Then we've got plains with a sphinx-like statue, or well, monument in the back. You've got an obelisk or two, very much, of course, reminiscent of ancient Egypt. And then an interior design of possibly some kind of temple. Then we've come to the islands. So basically running water, a waterfall. So this, of course, is set in a big city, obviously, but here we also have free-flowing water. And we have a swamp, which is basically a dried up river. And a very evocative swamp with a nearly probably already in the state of being submerged or falling or gliding into the actual swamp statue. And another one which isn't as evocative of a swamp as I would have expected it to be. That does remind me of more water. Then we've got mountains. The first mountains are, of course, the actual pyramids. And again, mountains, high buildings emulating mountains, and then mountains outside of the city. For the forest, we've got a cityscape garden and another cityscape garden, and also something that is reminiscent of an oasis. So they now repeat. as you would expect. So let's see if they do give us the full art lands as they promised. Not here. So we're going to put these aside. Like I said, I collect lands. We've got Evolving Wilds, again in a very different way of showing it. Okay, and we're now already in the actual... Okay, so that's a bit weird because they did say we were going to get the full art lands, but let's keep looking. So this is Evolving Wilds. So basically you can use this card to search for a while, for a land. Cartouche of Zeal. It's an enchantment aura. Fling. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. It's a very nice card. Nef Crop Entangler. Cartouche of Strength. Initiates companion, creature, cat, and of course, I mean, this is also a reason why I really wanted to get more of this, because it is, after all, cats. Trial of Zeal. Crop Crasher. Trial of Strength. Crocodile of the Crossing. Another Evolving Wilds. Cartouche of Solidarity. Tussled Dromedary. Compulsory Rest. Cartouche of Knowledge. Hinterland Drake. Vedalken Blade Master. Trial of Solidarity. Aerial Responder. That's from a different set, obviously. Trial of Knowledge. Angler Drake. Again, Evolving Wilds. Cartouche of Ambition. Soul Stinger, so now we're in the black area. Festering Mummy. Another Cartouche of Strength. Very nice. An Ordinary Kudu. Shed Weakness, a beautiful snake creature. Trial of Ambition. Baleful Amit. Trial of Strength. Crocodile of the Crossing again, another Evolving Wilds. Sweatworks Brawler. Fire Forger's Puzzle Knot. Embral Gear Smasher. Implement of Combustion, colorless. Welder Automaton. Artifact Creature Watchers of the Dead. It's cats. Beautiful. Inventor's Apprentice. Enraged Giant. Snare Thopter. Servo Schematic. Okay, so put the Evolving Wilds to the side. Okay, here we have Forsaken Sanctuary. That's a double land. It gives you white or black mana. Highland Lake, blue or red. Another Highland Lake. Forsaken Sanctuary. Foul Orchid. Stone Quarry. Woodland Stream. Submerged Boneyard. Very nice again. Cinder Barrens, that's for me, it's black-red. Timber Gorge, green-red. Tranquil Expanse, green and white. Meandering River, white and blue. Again, beautiful cards. And here we are. Okay. And here we have the full art lands. This is the plains. I'm gonna zoom out. Island, swamp, mountain, forest, plains. So let's see how many we have of each. So there's only one motif for each of them. And then, so we have 5 each. 5, 5, 5 and 5. So this means that I will be adding 2 to my actual playable lands and 3 will go into my binder. Or actually 2 will go into my binder and 3 will be added. Then we've got more lands, a beautiful red mountain. Unfortunately, I don't really know what the expansion symbols are, so I don't know where this is from. And another beautiful red mountain. Another beautiful forest. Three different types of forests. Beautiful plains. Beautiful islands. And beautiful swamps. Again, well, swampish, because I mean some of this is reminiscent of a swamp, and another beautiful mountain. So again, something for my collection. And now we come to the final part. So basically what they have done is they have put together 10 sets of bi-colored sets of 10 cards. So green, red, red, blue, red, black, black, blue, and so on and so forth. And in each of these Amonkhet deck builders, you get 4 of these sets. So 40 cards, which follow that particular, and I'm just wondering if this is them. That would be colorless. Yeah, that would have been this, and they would have been separated by the lands, I believe. So red, green, white, blue, black, green. So we'll see what's in here. And then of course we have 4 more boosters to crack open. Oh yeah, and just in case you're hearing water, the world is ending in Germany this weekend because we have very bad weather, and some of the stuff that we've actually ordered for Locana is delayed because DPD simply says they cannot actually, it would be unconscionable for somebody to actually have to travel and deliver stuff, which is totally fine, of course. So here we've got, and these can come from any of the editions up to 17. Victory's Herald, and this is actually a rare. Sphinx of Margosi, Nightmare. Nightmare's power and toughness are equal are each equal to the number of swamps you control. That's especially nice if you play Commander, because you could have up to, I don't know, 20, 15, 16 swamps. Shivan Dragon, beautiful card. Garruk's Horde. Serra Angel, another angel. Stormfront Pegasus, flying. And if you recall, they said that blue was the flying deck. As you can see, or the flying color, as you can see now, most of these white cards actually have flying. Aviary Mechanic. Fanbearer, it's a zombie from Amonkhet. Human Soldier, Standing Troops, Vigilance. Graceful Cat. Divine Verdict. Fragmentize. Inspire Charge. Compulsory Rest. We saw this before. Air Elemental. Angler Drake. Nimble Innovator. Stealer of Secrets. Leave in the Dust. Tricks of the Trade. Negate. That's simply counter target non-creature spell. That's when the blue player comes out and says no. Malfunction. Enchant artifact or creature. When malfunction enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. That's terrifying. Essence Scatter. Counter target creature spell. Revolutionary Rebuff. Counter target spell. Counter target non-artifact spell unless its controller plays 2. So that's kind of like ward. Zengir Vampire. Flying. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Zengir Vampire this turn dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Zengir Vampire. And he's quite strong at 4/4. Gifted Aetherborn. Death Touch. Lifelink. It's a vampire as well. Tattered Mummy. Creature Zombie Jackal. It's a beautiful card. Again, the artwork is stunning. Blood Hunter Bat. Flying. Painful Lesson. I actually got this as part of the list, I believe, but from a different, I want to say it was from a different edition. Daring Demolition. Destroy target creature or vehicle. Untamed Hunger. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has menace. Supernatural Stamina. I'm already seeing a total commander deck appearing here. Raise Dead. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And again, it only costs 1. Brazen Scourge. Creature. Gremlin. Looks more like an aardvark. Haste. 3/3. So haste means it doesn't suffer from summoning sickness but can attack on the first round it's played. Hungry Flames. Thundering Giant. Bloodlust Inciter. Target creature gains haste until the end of turn if you tap this one. Spireside Infiltrator. Cathartic Reunion. And again, may I add how beautiful the art is. I mean, these are so evocative. And again, you see the different art styles. You see the different ways in which the story is told by the art as well. Hijack, it's more like a steampunk version. Fling. We saw Fling before. Shock. Shock deals 2 damage to target creature or player. It's my kind of spell. And again, Arborback Stomper. Trample. When Arborback Stomper enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. I mean, that's Blossoming Defense. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains Hexproof until the end of your turn. Until the end of turn. Druid of the Cowl. An elf druid. You can tap it and add 1 to your mana pool, 1 green. Creature Lizard Rootwaller. A Rootwaller. They make terrible pets, unless you don't like your other pets. Stalking Tiger, Wild Wanderer, Greater Sandworm, Wing Snare, Oakenform, Filigree Familiar, it's a fox. When it enters, you gain 2 life. When it dies, you draw a card, and it's a colorless one. Renegade Map, Night Market Guard, Renegade Freighter. So it's a vehicle. You crew 2, you tap any 2 numbers, any 2 creatures you control with total power 2 or more. No, sorry, tap any number of creatures you control with total power 2 or more. So if you have one that has power 2, you could also just man it with 1. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature. And the same here. Iron Tread Crusher. So again, I can already see how this would work perfectly for a deck building experience, although I think they should have explained a little more about deck building in the deck building guide, because that's not a guide, that's just basically very basic. So we have Aether Revolt, Khaladesh, and Oath of the Gatewatch, and Amonkhet. So we're going to start with Aether Revolt. Bastion Enforcer. It's a creature dwarf soldier 3/2. Headquartered at the Bastion of the Honorable, the consulate's enforcers are charged with the impossible task of keeping the peace. Conviction. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+3. Return conviction to its owner's hand. Aether Chaser. First strike. Okay. Silkweaver Elite. It's an elf archer. Fourth Bridge Prowler. Human rogue. When he enters the battlefield, you can give -1/-1 to a target creature until the end of turn. So you play this one. He comes in with Summoning Sickness, so you can't use him, but you give -1/-1 to another creature, and then you can attack. Prey Upon. Augmenting Automation. It's a 1/1, and if you pay 1 black and 1 colorless, you get it gets +2/+2 in total. Implement of Examination. It's an artifact. When Implement Examination is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Aether Inspector, Dwarf Artificer, Vigilance. Implement of Ferocity. You pay 1 green, and then you can sacrifice the card and put 1/1 on a target creature. And then you basically put it into your graveyard, and then you get to draw a card. Daredevil Dragster, it's a vehicle. Weldfast Engineer, Human Artificer. Consulate Dreadnought, it's another vehicle. 7/11, but you have to accrue it for 6. Indomitable Creativity. For X and 3 red, destroy X target artifacts. Wow. And or creatures. Ooh. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until an artifact or creature card is revealed and exiles that card. Those players put the exiled cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle their libraries. Okay, well, the thing is, yes, you destroy them, but you bring in others. So it's, you know, Basic land island, and an emblem. Tezzeret. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 5/5. Okay. Then we have Kaladesh. No, we're actually going to start with the Gatewatch before we do anything else. Begin battling Eldrazi today. Expedite. Target creature gains haste until the end of turn. Draw a card. Very nice. I run and thunder follows. Ondu War Cleric. Cohort. Tap an untapped ally you control. You gain 2 life. So you tap this and another ally. Ancient Crab. 1/5. After the fall of Seagate and the draining of the Halimar Basin, the crab set off to find a new home. Vines of the Recluse. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains reach until the end of turn. Untap it. A creature with reach can block creatures with flying. Okay, so you could actually... If you've attacked on your step and then you've basically tapped this creature that you were attacking with, and then you get attacked, you can play this and target this creature that you tapped before it gets +1/+2, and you can actually then defend against a flyer. Kozilek's Translators, Devoid. This card has no color. Okay. Pay 1 life. Add a colorless to your mana pool. Activate this ability only once each turn. From nothingness, sustenance. Okay. Oh, but it's also a drone creature, so it's 3/5. Saddleback Lagak. It's a creature lizard, 3/1. When Saddleback Lagak enters the battlefield, support 2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. Kozilek's Pathfinder, another Eldrazi, 5/5. And if you pay 1 colorless mana, target creatures can't block Kozilek's Pathfinder this turn. Spawnbinder Mage. With the Cohort ability, Human Wizard Ally 2/4. Oblivion Strike, Sorcery, Devoid. Exile target creature. Goblin Freerunner. Goblin Warrior Ally. Surge 1. Surge for 1 and red. You may cast this spell for its surge cost if you or a teammate has cast another spell this turn. Oh, it becomes cheaper. Okay, that's fine. Embodiment of Fury. It's an elemental with trample. Land creatures you control have trample. It's very nice. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until the end of turn. It's still a land. So it means it can still give you mana. Bonds of Mortality. Again, a beautiful card. When Bonds of Mortality enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Devour in Flames. As an additional cost to cast Devour in Flames, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Devour of Flames deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Okay. Overwhelming Denial. Surge for 2. You may cast this spell for its surge cost if your teammate has cast. Okay. Overwhelming Denial can't be countered by spells or ability. Counter target spell. Okay. It's just one of, again, an instance where somebody says no. And we've got a full art, beautiful forest land. I'm going to put it to the side where my lands are. Because like I said, I collect them. Then we've got Kaladesh. Oh, this one opened really easily. That's a new experience. Usually it's quite difficult to open them. Don't miss a play, and it's a construct token artifact creature. So let's see. Select for inspection. Return target tapped creature to its owner's hand and scry 1. So you look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom. Hijack, we've seen this card before. 9th, Bridge Patrol. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on 9th Bridge Patrol. Aether Theorist, Vedalken Rogue. When Aether Theorist enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy tokens. You can tap Aether Theorist and pay 1 of these energy tokens, and you get to scry 1. Thriving Rats. When Thriving Rats enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy tokens whenever Thriving Rats attack. You may pay 2, and if you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Accomplished Automaton. It's a construct for 5/7, costs 7, it's colorless, fabricate 1. When this creature enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it or create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Okay, was it just lonely, or was some form of evolution inevitable? Tezzeret's Ambition. We saw Tezzeret's emblem. Draw 3 cards. If you control no artifacts, discard a card. To achieve what none have achieved before, one must dare what none have dared before. Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. When Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay. You can pay 2 and 1 black mana, sacrifice Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, and you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Salivating Gremlins. Ugh. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Salivating Gremlins gets +2/+0 and gains trample. Okay. If an elf can dream it and a dwarf can build it, a gremlin can eat it. Hazardous Conditions. Creatures with no counters on them get -2/-2 until the end of turn. Harsh Scrutiny. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a creature card from it. That player discards that card and you get to scry 1. Very nice. And I really like the art. Again, Restoration Gearsmith. Human Artificer 3/3. When Restoration Gearsmith enters the battlefield, return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. All she touches turns to well-oiled, delicately calibrated, perfectly balanced gold. Cultivator of Blades. A 1/1 Elf Artificer, fabricate 2. You get to create 2 1/1 colorless servo artifacts or put 2 1/1 counters on this one. Whenever Cultivator of Blades attacks, you may have other attacking creatures get +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is Cultivator of Blades power. So when she comes in, she gets +1/+1 and +1/+1 if you so choose. Then she has 3/3, and you would give this to others as well. Oh, we've got a foil, Aether Hub. Beautiful, it's a land. Okay. And we've got a mountain. So we're going to put this here. It's a special land, we put it over here. And then last but by no means least, we've got the eponymous Amonkhet booster. Whoops. Desert Cerodon. It's a creature beast. Quite expensive, 5/1. Cycling. Red. Discard this card. So pay red and then discard this card, draw a card. It's a 6/4. Very powerful. Forsake the Worldly. instant. Exile target artifact or enchantment, cycling 2. You pay 2 mana of any color, discard this card, draw a card. Seeker of Insights, 1/3, and if you tap it, you draw a card and then discard a card. Activate this ability only if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn. Okay. Pathmaker Initiate. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn if you tap it. Nice. Colossopede. Creature insect 5/5. If it's bigger, you must be faster. If it's stronger, you must be sharper. Anything less and you will never seize a place in your god Pharaoh's perfect afterlife. Rona's god of strength. Got a point there. Scarab Feast. It's an instant. Exile up to 3 target cards from a single graveyard. The face of mediocrity is wrapped in anointed linen. Aspire to a better end. River Serpent. River Serpent can't attack unless there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard. Cycling blue. Through the Luxa River brings, although the Luxa River brings life to Naktamun, it's not without dangers. Horror of the Broken Lands. Creature, horror. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, Horror of the Broken Land gets +2/+1. It feeds on dry bones in the sand and desperate pleas in the wind. Sun-scorched desert. It's a land. You get to add a colorless mana. And whenever it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target player. We like this. Gate to the Afterlife. It's an artifact. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. Then you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. You can pay 2 of any color and tap this and then sacrifice Gate to the Afterlife. Search your graveyard, hand, or library for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Activate this ability only if there are 6 or more creature cards in your graveyard. Sixth Sense. Enchantment Aura. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. It's very nice. Scaled Behemoth. Crocodile, 6/7, hexproof. Surviving this. Okay, hexproof means this creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. You can still enchant it. Surviving an encounter with it is proof enough that an initiate is ready to for a trial of strength. Glorious End, instant end the turn. Exile all spells and abilities on the stack, including this card. The player whose turn it is discards down to his or her maximum hand size. Damage wears off, and this turn and until the end of turn effects end. At the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. Okay, so I can force my opponent to end play. So if he were to attack me, I can actually stop this. Then it becomes my turn, and then I would lose if I don't manage to kill him outright. Hazoret's Favor. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until the end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, and we've got a mountain. So that was the Deck Builders Toolkit for Amonkhet. I'm actually very happy about it because I got really lovely lands that I wanted. I also got a nice spread of cards, which is a nice selection of cards that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. I'm a bit disappointed in the actual Deck Builder's Guide because if you've never played before, it doesn't give you any ideas on how to do it. It doesn't give you any suggestions. So I think I would have expected more from a Deck Builder's Guide, but I'm very happy with it. I'm just not sure if it would help somebody who has never played Magic before build a deck because it doesn't give you any hints with regard to tactics. But then again, I think, I guess it came out in 2017, so people did have the internet already, so they were able to do research there. So that's Amonkhet, the Deck Builders Toolkit from 2017. Talk to you soon. Bye!